Hi, once again, everybody, and welcome into this latest edition of Gun on One. It is presented by my bookie. You know, when you talk about Lane Johnson, he is recognized as arguably the best, not just right tackle, but offensive lineman in all of the National Football League. But, you know, Lane, like all of us, we all have a vulnerable side. And in recent years, Lane has opened up about some of the emotional struggles he has gone through and how he has combated it. And so I can't thank my man enough for stepping in the D-Gun spotlight on this edition of Gun on One to talk about what he has gone through. Lane, hey, man, good to see you. How you been, my brother?
Man, been good. Trying to start the season off with a bang. Getting wins. Some are prettier than others, but we're happy about that. But yeah, really, I guess the topic of discussion is just something's really came apart really in the latter part of my career.
Mm.
It's really now I'm in a position where I can help a lot of people, or at least get a lot of people talking. And so, that's I feel like everybody draws inspiration from somebody.
Mm.
Uh, you know, you look at what Brian Dawkins is doing. The player he was here. The intensity that he had in the field, and then he talks about just being totally on the other side of that. So. Pretty unique. It doesn't matter who you are, what you do. It comes to find everybody at some point.
Man, so let's go back. And when did your struggle with depression and anxiety really begin? When did you first notice it surfacing?
Uh, really, when I got into junior college, so mine was really all really performance anxiety, just with practice every day, the games, and then I mean, the only time I feel like I was ever depressed in my life was whenever we're talking about my ankle injury, just how much it affected my game, and it was like it was something that mentally you tell yourself, I can move, I can move past it, but whenever you're physically feeling it every day, it's kind of reaffirms it, and so you kind of get caught in a downward spiral. But yeah, other than that, it was just always something that I took sports so serious to where I could just become obsessive about it. And knowing, the thing about the sport is you just have the plays are so quick and they happen so fast, and you have to react quick, and so really, it's just kind of like live bullets all the time, so to speak. Uh, if you take the game that serious. Now I've been around people that don't take it as serious, and
Yeah.
but there's some people that it affects differently.
So you've gone through injuries as a college player and
Mm-hmm.
early on in your pro career. Why did it all of a sudden escalate with this ankle injury that you had, what, in 2020, 21?
Yeah, 2020. Yeah, so no, I mean that was really the first surgery I ever had was on my ankle. So other than that, it really affected me the 2019 season. I remember going to the Pro Bowl, not being able to run, and I felt like my ankle was probably torn then, my deltoid, but I didn't get it fixed. I played through it through 20, and so after that, the surgery, it was like really stiff in 2021. And so like when I was coming out of my stance, it affected my gait and how I ran. It affected my run blocking. So like a lot of stuff I could do really easily was kind of taken away. And so from somebody that, you feel like you have a standard of play that you've set and that you like watching, and then that part of your games is diminished, it can throw you for a head spin. So, for me, it was just adversity that I never really faced. I faced other stuff, but nothing really, from the injury side where it was, something that affected me physically as well. Um, so yeah, those are the really, trying times. It's like, hey, you get it right. You, everything that you work for in this life has been based around this. And so, yeah, it's, made it a big deal.
So that particular injury in 21, all of a sudden you just disappear from the team like Houdini. And people are trying to find Lane Johnson. The team is trying to find him. Head security's trying to find you. Nobody knows where Lane Johnson is. Then we find out that you were in your vehicle heading back to Oklahoma.
Yep.
At that point, you were seriously considering quitting football altogether.
Yeah. I mean, I had several conversations just like during training camp. It was really tough for me making through training camp. I didn't really say it to the team or to some of my. I mean, I really didn't tell any of my teammates really. I mean, because we all gripe about how sore we are, but we kind of hold back. But
Yeah.
it was really bothering me. I remember when we went to the Jets, and I mean, just me getting out of bed, it's just my foot was like it's like a Mr. D's foot. It just wouldn't flex. It was stiff. It was like felt like a piece of petrified wood instead of a foot.
Wow.
So, yeah, I was dealing with that, and I was having anxiety from that, and I've taken medication for a few years, and so I was tapering off. I felt like maybe I was overprescribed the dose, and so I wanted to kind of taper off to see if it would lessen the symptoms. And so basically what happened was it's extended release tablet that's not meant to be split. So the previous medication that I was on was something that you could split in half to taper off. And so I went from a dose, that was consistently available in the body, and then whenever that stuff's taken away, you can get the things called like serotonin syndrome. So your serotonin gets very low. You start getting like tremors and shakes, nausea. So it's almost like a withdrawal from like, I guess, an opiate, so to speak. You get those kind of symptoms. So I was dealing with all that. And then I'm trying to go play. And it was a whole lot. And I talked to, some people about, I wanted to be done with it. This caused me this much misery and stuff. And, is, what's it all worth? But, I mean, my biggest thing is I love my teammates. I love, as much as I hate practicing and putting on the pads, I love going to work every day and eating and seeing Stout, BSing him in the mornings, getting to hear Kels gripe about how sore he is in the morning. That's what I look forward to. And BG just kind of walks in there, kind of like he always has, like nothing's really affected. So that's what I miss most about, I think I'll miss most about the game whenever I do eventually retire, just being in there with your guys. I mean, it's pure entertainment. You get some characters. You just have stories for a lifetime.
Are you still taking meds now today?
Yeah. So what I take is it's a antidepressant, or they give it to people with social anxiety and so forth. For me, it does. It's not something that you take and it works immediately. It takes for at least like a month sometimes for these medicines to take action. So, I never did it until college, because it was so hard for me to just break even, to like keep even kill. And it just felt like I was just riding a roller coaster, and I couldn't. Basically, I had a real hard time focusing. That was the main thing. I was very distracted, and it was like you had no control of really focusing, being in the present. It was like a very hard task to do.
I remember also when you went through a PED suspension.
Yeah.
And if you're taking these meds for anxiety and depression, whatever you were taking in the PED era, was that also triggering the anxiety and depression?
No, D-Gun, because I think, it all started for me. I put the pressure on myself to in high school. My thing is I wanted to go D1. I put so much pressure. And then when I had to go to JUCO, it didn't work out. And it was like, I mean, you seen Last Chance. She was like, hey, either you're going to make it and you don't have much time, or you're not. And so that's where my anxiety grew from. And then I thought, maybe the more I achieved, the maybe it'd go away. And I felt like it was, I guess what I'm trying to say is I felt like I was always chasing, what I'm saying? Always trying to obtain, or, whatever other people's opinions of me is kind of what I live by. You're on a roller coaster instead of, being grounded and being centered and paying attention to stuff that matters and stuff that don't. And like we were talking about earlier, in high school or just in the school system in general, you're taught a whole lot of stuff, but, basically human psychology, or, kind of how we operate as human beings is discussed unless you're kind of looking into that field. So I think, that should be talked about, or at least put in the school systems more, is just, all these young people growing up, and they're in a world now where there's so much cameras, there's so little privacy. It's like, when I think about the players like the 80s and 90s, if some of the stuff that was happening off the field that they were doing, they wouldn't have had a career today. You know what I'm saying? So I just feel like maybe this generation is kind of like a mass, paranoia, It was like the internet is like the place where people were just scared of it pretty much. So
football players are looked at like gladiators, these invincible beings and stuff.
yeah.
And why did you keep it so well hidden? Did you make it? Did it seem like it would make you feel like less of a man's in some ways?
Well, I mean, it wasn't. It was hidden to the public, but it wasn't hidden to my coaches knew.
Okay.
Me and Brooks were real close because we
Yeah.
experienced kind of the exact same symptoms. But until I missed those games and it went public, that's when I really, talked about kind of everything that I dealt with it, because I kept it suppressed, at least to the public. But my friends, guys on the team, that we see every day, they know. But other than that, kept it pretty hush.
Was 2021 your darkest depression moment in your life?
Yeah, because I felt like I was at the tip of the iceberg to where,
Okay.
hey, what do you want to do? And so really, I feel like as my foot got better, that was the main thing. Is if my foot didn't get better, my ankle didn't, turn into a foot again and operate the way that I wanted to, or so I could play effectively. That was the end all be all. And so I really I focused on that, put a lot of time in. And so, yeah, I mean, when that adversity hits, it's like, whatever's taken away in your attributes, you got to be better with your time, and you got to be better with your hands. You got to, maybe use your wisdom as you get older. As an older player, you may not have, as much speed as you used to, but you can make stuff up with timing and knowledge.
Even as we sit here right now, do you know when it's coming on? Are there certain warning signs, or does it kind of sneak up on you?
Only get it on game day.
Only on game day.
Yep.
So no other aspect of your life triggers this except game day.
Training camp, it's heightened during training camp because every day's game day. It's like you have this huge break from football, and then you're jumped into training camp. There's more cameras than there's ever going to be during the year. It's like there's nobody around now when we're practicing, but it's like that every day. Constant news crews. People are watching you every rep if you win or lost, and then it's paraded to whoever. And so for some people, it can affect them a great deal. And so it did for me for a long time. And I felt like that anxiety, even though it caused me a lot of unstableness, I felt like it was a blessing and a curse. Like it got the best out of me, but there was a price that had to be paid. Because fear is a great motivator. But fear is taught too. So you got to learn to really use anxiety as an ally instead of something. I feel like it really heightens your abilities on game day. Fighters talk about that. John Jones talks about that. It can be a fire that can cook for you, clean, cook your food, but if it gets out of control, it can burn your house down. So that's the best way to describe what anxiety is. There's a good normal measure for just living, but when it gets out of control and it affects your appetite, your sleep, affects your relationships, you can't sit still, you can't and it becomes a repetitive cycle, and then you get embarrassed to feel like you're dependent on a medicine as a crutch, which I felt like I was. And so on this journey, even after football, I would like to I had the brain scans done at the Amen Clinic a few years ago. And so that's the largest database of human brain scans. And so they basically see what parts of your brain are active or underactive from trauma, concussions, stress of your life. It's kind of all shows up on there. So, I would like to, venture out of there and kind of really figure it all out, when I'm done playing.
I'm glad you said that, because I was going to ask you, now that the word CTE has become so prominent in the football jargon, do you worry about that triggering it even more so when you quit playing the game?
Yeah, but I feel like there's preventative measures now. Like, I'm not saying this is an end all be all, but Joe Namath talks about it.
Okay.
Daniel Amen, the clinic that I went to, the Amen Clinic, But Namath talks about, using the hyperbaric chamber therapy, which a lot of people on our team, we have access to during the year.
Yep.
So basically what they do there, they'll have you do like a total of 120 scans, but broke off into 3 sections. So they'll do your brain scan before, and then they'll do 40 sessions, which is like an hour and a half in the chamber, do another scan. So you end up getting 3 scans total. And then you see such a huge improvement. So like a lot of football players have like a lot of damage in like their prefrontal cortex.
Yep.
Is, as you know, huge in everything we do. So a lot of damage is there. And so what they have shown in some of these scans is that they get a return to blood flow, their cognitive abilities are coming back. Their memories, not as bad. So they're kind of getting some healing from it. But I think as time goes on and as medicine advances, I feel like it's something, it's still something that we're facing, but it's so much better than what it was, that people had access to in the 70s, 80s. There wasn't anything.
That's right.
And I talked to players, that played in the 2000s. Guys talk about short-term memory issues, loss. Joe Thomas talked about it. I think Kels talked, like for us, like losing house keys or losing something.
Yep.
It's going to happen. And we laugh about it and joke about it, but there's something to it, but no, I feel, in the future, I'll be grateful just all the stuff that we have access to now compared to athletes in the past that didn't have this. But I think the education is going to grow. I think the NFLPA, I think as time goes on and you get more players speak out about it, I think more preventive measures will go into place.
When you decided to open up about this, was it easy for you? Were you concerned about what people would think of you? Or were you just at a point you said, you know what, I've kept this within me enough. I just want to talk about it and get it out there.
Yeah, that's what it was. I felt like, all these, 10 years of keeping it hidden, or at least to a lot of people. And then when it was out there, I'm like, hey, well, this ain't nothing new to me. This is just, hey, welcome to a few months into my life. So, it was just a battle I faced and had to overcome it. So, hey, sometimes you get to the battles, but they leave you a little bit of scars. So, but no, I'm thankful. When I was talking to people throughout this process, they were worried to may do damage, may do this, may do that. But I feel like it really a lot of the younger generation, because I don't want kids to go all those years of something affecting them a great deal, having it, doing a big damage to your life because you're not talking about it, not educating yourself about it, and not taking steps to improve it.
Go back to 2017. You were a significant part of helping that team win the franchise's only Super Bowl trophy.
Yeah.
Were you able to enjoy the journey and the final element of hoisting that Lombardi trophy? Were you able to enjoy that whole thing?
Yeah, that was, it was just a year that was, we had I felt like you could really tell in the offseason that we had a good O-line, we had a good D-line. We were skilled all over, really, when you look at the roster. So you knew you had a chance. And then as the season progressed, you beat the Rams out in LA. Okay, moving on. You just like every test that we had, I feel like we just steamrolled through people. And then, when the Carson injury happened, that was big. That was Carson, man. He was playing out of his mind. It was, when you saw the Pete Carson Wentz, what he was doing, man, it was really special. But I feel like Nick was just a guy who's like so established as a person, like kind of who he is outside of football, to where, as I'm not saying he didn't take it serious. He took it very serious, but he just played so free. And I feel like that made a big impact on the team, really diminished any kind of anxieties about the playoffs. And yeah, I mean, I really got to enjoy it, that night, the parade, how it affected, Selleck, those guys that were, on the back half of their careers or at the end of their careers. And so that was special. And when you saw how much it meant to everybody in the city, man, you'll never see the streets like that again until there's another parade. You just it was amazing to see how much sports can impact and bring people together. You look at crowds like that. You look at the soccer teams, over in Central or South America. It's crazy. It's unbelievable.
Hey, everybody, make your money work smarter, not harder with MyBookie. Celebrate your winning season with MyBookie's cash bonus match offer of up to $200. You heard me right, a $200 bonus cash match offer before you even place a bet by making a deposit with MyBookie. All you have to do is go to mybookie.ag and use my promo code GUNN. That's GUNN, all caps. Again, GUNN, GUNN, all caps, to claim this bonus. But make sure you act quickly because the offer is only available this week. And you can only get it with my promo code, once again, GUNN, all caps, GUNN. Now, with a full slate of NFL and college football, there are plenty of options to bet and win. So don't be the guy that misses out. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere, only with MyBookie. Hey, what's therapeutic for you in terms of suppressing depression and anxiety? Is it sitting in a quiet room? Is it spending more time with your children? What's therapeutic beyond medications?
Yeah, I like being outside. I feel like that's best, kind of away from the phones, away from all that, and just sit outside in nature. I mean, I like to hunt. I mean, I don't hunt anymore because of football season, but I truly like, fishing. I love, if I could do that every day, that's probably my biggest, as far as me relaxing. But for me, a lot of it's, man, I don't pay attention to a whole lot anymore. Far as in the season, I try to shut out as much, internet as I can. I play a lot of Sudoku before the game.
Yeah.
And then a lot of times during meetings, I'm either learning or I like BSing with the guys. I look forward to break. I look forward to, the meals with the guys. That's what I really like. I didn't have any siblings growing up, so I'm just spending my time and enjoying my guys.
Since you've opened up about this, has your inner circle of friends shrunken in terms of people who you feel you can open up to? Is it more of a close-knit group of people that you confide in?
Yeah, I feel like as I've gotten older, it's definitely, you can probably say, throughout people's lives, as they get older, friend, everybody kind of goes their separate ways. And then, you'll have your guys or people you can pick up where you left off. So that's kind of how it was for me. It's pretty simple to the, how it was. It was just more public, people, knowing about it, the fan base, all that. But it was nothing kind of new to, the people within the organization.
Okay. So playing the game at a high level that you have consistently through the years, being recognized as arguably the best, not just right tackle, but offensive lineman in the game today, maintaining a Pro Bowl status, not giving up a sack in 2 years now, which is still phenomenal in itself. These are all things that trigger this then. Is that correct? Because you have a standard for yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
I talked about this last night. I was talking to Tristan Wirfs after the game because I saw or Gabe sent me an article earlier in the year where he came out and talked about how he was seeing a therapist, because he was making the switch to left tackle.
But Tristan Wirfs from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yeah, and he's going to be a generational talent at the position. But what we were talking about is that just what you're saying. Sometimes you can become a captive of your abilities and your expectations can hold you hostage. So you can't be living in that gray area. I think it was before the Vikings game, we're out there in warmups, and Stout made a good point. He said the best players I've been around, they go out there and play. They say, I don't give a, you know what.
Yeah.
So that's really what it is, man. When I get on the field, I just try to not really think a whole lot, react. When I think about all the hours in the building that I spend watching film and doing the same drills, doing the same practices over and over. I think thinking slows you down. I feel like I'm programmed to do what I do. And so for me, it's all about, live and die in those 4 to 5 seconds, repetitive. it's such a different game for offensive linemen and defensive linemen. The mentality, guy has to make one play to have a you get a sack a game, you're going to make a lot of money. You know what I'm saying? That's one play this guy has to make, and I had to be set. I don't know how many plays we played that night, 70, 70, whatever.
Yeah.
Two totally different lifestyles. So, but it changes when it's not pass. It goes, you're not the prey anymore. You're the predator when you're run blocking. So that's why I like run blocking so much. I want to unleash all that. Just what I'm saying. All these guys have to do is make one play. I have to play 70 perfect ones. So I'm going to try my best to F you up as much as I can.
That's a nice way of putting it. I'll go with that.
But no, D-Gun, it's two totally different lives. You know what I'm saying? Those guys.
Yeah, I hear you.
You know what I'm saying? You got to be serious on the O-line. It's, it's like we're watching the ship, and anything gets through, hey, that boat's going down.
I don't think anybody's more serious than you are when you step to that line of scrimmage. That's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, Kelsey's like that too. You see how how Kelsey's wild.
He's intense. He's intense. Yeah. You mentioned earlier in our conversation why you love playing the game, the camaraderie, and all of the elements that go with it. But I'll counter with this. At this stage of your career, you've exceeded the lifespan, the average lifespan of an NFL player, which is 3.5 years, basically. You have by far exceeded that. So as you continue to play, it's not about the money, because you have the money. It's not about individual accolades, because you have plenty of those. It's not about that bling, that Lombardi trophy, and that Super Bowl ring. You have that as well. And so for a job that gives you such an emotional roller coaster,
yeah,
why not just walk away? You've done everything. You've done more than most guys will do in your profession.
Yeah, but like I said, it's like you're under that fire. It's like you're really living whenever you're under some extreme stress or duress. And they always have the best stories, or seems like you always remember the very stressful times of your life very vividly. But it's like I guess you form a bond with these people because it's so unlike any other profession where you're not putting the extreme, pretty much going to war on TV. You grow such a tight bond with these guys to where it's just, it's like your family. It's like somebody coming to your house and, hey, what you going to do? So that's what I love if I never would have went into football, I think maybe I'd have tried to be in the military. I don't know what I'd done, but I always envy those guys. Now I look up to like the special operations groups and what they're, how these guys handle what they handle, the stress, the mental fortitude. It's those are the real impressive individuals of the world.
In due time, life after football will be staring you right in the face.
Yeah.
Is there a part of you that's afraid to even think about what's on the other side of football?
No, because I think football is always going to be a part of who I am and what I do. So I don't know if it's going to be the coaching aspect or training players aspect. I'm always going to love this game. I love, I love the grinds. I love the battles. So, that's not going away. But no, I'm looking forward to spending time with the people that, as the seasons go, as the years go on. A lot of time devoted to football. So, get to spend time with my parents. Ever since pretty much freshman year of high school. Two different lives. So, kind of reconnect with your family, and I'm looking forward to that probably the most. A lot of fishing. I'm looking forward to a lot of fishing.
Go back to 2017 for just a moment again. Your good friend and former line mate, Brandon Brooks, he opens up about how he was dealing with anxiety and why he was missing games because of it.
Yeah.
At that stage, you remain silent. So as you listen to him open up, what's going through your mind?
I talked to the media. We had that one segment where I was saying, I have the same symptoms he does.
Yeah.
But I didn't miss a game kind of similar to what he did until 2019. So, but I think, just what I said, Brandon took the game so serious to where, you can become a captive of your expectations and the standard you set for yourself. So, I think we were very similar in that regard. We put a lot of pressure on ourselves to perform.
Yeah.
And it was such a, if we disappointed the coach or you disappointed somebody in the building, man, it really affects you because, that's your livelihood. And so, it affects you a great deal. So, but no, I think, for me and him, that's why we were so close when we were, was because we were experiencing the same things, the same
Yeah.
feelings, same, all that. We were very similar in those ways.
Hey man, you really went through something in the latter part of last season. You're dealing with that abductor
Yeah.
injury. You went through it for the latter part of the season, the playoffs, and the Super Bowl. How was that affecting you emotionally and mentally?
Well, the first game was a big test. I remember sitting in the locker room, man, just you know, not really knowing what to expect.
Yeah,
But I love going out there competing with those guys. I felt like kind of the pressure was off of me. I could play free. I mean, it was like, hey man, you got 2 torn groins, just give me your fucking best. And so that's
mm,
what. Um, yeah, for me, I just knew what kind of team we had. So I knew we had the ability to go where we did. It didn't end the way we wanted it to, but I knew we could get there with the talent we had. So, um, after the initial couple of weeks, the pain wasn't affecting me as much. I mean, it
yep.
was torn, whatever, but other muscles started compensating, so I wasn't feeling the same, extreme stress that I was early. But I do remember what was funny. So like the last when we I guess tied it up on that play, we did a boot left. I remember pushing off my right leg and feeling it like crack again. And it
Oh,
was like, that's when Kansas City, I guess, kicked the field goal. But I was like, I don't know if I have to go back out here and try to finish this game. I don't know if I can.
wow!
Because,
It was that bad.
yeah, it was that bad.
Wow, wow. Well, unfortunately, you lost the game, but health
Yeah,
wise, I'm glad you didn't have to go back out there. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So basically, the surgery is like a C-section. I mean, for that's the way they
Oh,
describe me. So, um, hey, shout out to all the women out there. Hey, I feel you.
hey man, I know my wife had three C-sections. I know what
Hey,
that's like. So,
hey,
hey,
it's
did
terrible.
you see the Netflix documentary quarterbacks?
Oh no, I watched some pieces of it, like of each person. Um, so yeah, it's just those people operate differently. You can see kind of Mahomes is more like I mean, takes it very serious, but just
Yeah,
kind of
yeah,
it's like a backyard feel out there. And then you have Kirk Cousins, who's extremely regimented. Every 15 minutes on the schedule, he has something that he's going to. He's about, he's a family man. So you just see very different lifestyles and what people will do for a living. I thought it was great insight for the fans to really, understand or kind of feel like they're living, the life of a quarterback.
the reason I ask you was because Kirk Cousins in particular reveals that he talks to the team's sports psychologists on a regular basis.
Hey,
Um,
hell yeah, yep,
and so I want to ask, do the Eagles have a sports psychologist, number one? And number two,
yeah.
do you spend time with them on a regular basis?
Uh, Yeah, I mean, we have people within our organization that I talk to with a person outside that, that kind of, I guess, Coach Stoutland brought into my life ever since kind of draft day. I talked to this man with draft day. And so he was the guy that, I'm not going to say his name, but he was the guy that told the Eagles who to draft because he would do kind of psychological profiles on each player and
Yeah.
see the best chance of, making in the life of an NFL player. So, um, yeah, I mean, for them, when you talk to people that are extremely educated and human beings, have their behavior, their body language, just their psyche, they can tell you a lot about yourself before you get too many words out. So, yeah, no, they really help you. I guess what can I say? Compartmentalize stuff and put stuff in order to where basically get your focusing and being grounded and being in the present um, the best you can be. And so, depressions whenever you focus on too much stuff of the past,
Yeah.
anxiety is too much focus in the future. And so, whenever you have those traits and behaviors year after year, day after day, year after year, you have to kind of reprogram yourself to get out of that frame of mind. So, and those people help you do that.
Because you are so well versed on the topic and you're living it every day, when you're in the locker room, can you look around now at younger players and know when they're going through something similar to what you're going through? And do you go out of your way to just kind of pull them aside and talk to them and tell them how to deal with the stuff?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like mainly, I talk to a lot of guys on the team, but I feel like each position group has like a vet leader that we all, can relate to, or they can get great advice. But yeah, ever since my thing in 2019, it really changed. I feel like people were open to come to me, and that's refreshing because I know I can save them, or hopefully save them, years of torment and help them kind of get their life on the right track sooner, and kind of avoid wasting time.
Who's been your biggest supporter through all this?
My girlfriend, my parents, my trainer, my agent, and really the Eagles organization. Throughout my career, we had a lot of ups and downs, but hey, damn sure a lot more ups and downs. This city is very polarizing. It's very, it's the NFL version of Friday Night Lights. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
As far as intensity and how much it impacts the town here. It's like when we played Tampa the other night. Those people are, there's yachts, there's boats, there's, Sunshine State, there's fishing, they got all stuff. It's football here.
That's right.
They really love it. They love sports in general. So totally different dynamic. But I'm thankful for the Eagles for being with me throughout these years. I couldn't imagine being somewhere else. So, very fortunate at the end.
I've noticed that you have been speaking at a number of mental health clinics. Is that something you will continue to do after football? Will you continue to have a public platform on mental health when you're done playing the game?
Yeah. I think, the speaking, obviously is its own thing, but when you go to these places, you really realize how big of, how much it's affecting the youth with social media now, and kind of a more digital world that kids are looking or having to deal with a whole lot more than maybe even I was, or maybe you had to deal with growing up. So it's definitely something I look forward to being an advocate for in the future.
My final question to you, my friend, because I know I've taken up a lot of your time. The words depression and anxiety have become so commonplace in our society today. There's a lot of people dealing with it every day. A lot of people afraid to open up about it. A lot of people afraid to seek help. What advice would Lane Johnson give people in terms of recognizing it and dealing it and controlling it?
Yeah, become educated on it. That's my number one advice. To learn why you're feeling this, to be aware of it, be cognizant of it. And then next step is taking initiative to change it, or to envision the person that you want to be, where you want to be. And so really what I'm trying to say is plan your work and work your plan, and spend as little time procrastinating it, and you'll be better off.
Very well said, my friend. I can't thank you enough for taking some time out of your busy schedule to be on Gun on One, man. Always appreciate you, my brother.
Sure. Thank you.
All right, man. All right, that's going to wrap up this edition of Gun on One. It's presented by MyBookie. For my man, Lane Johnson, I'm Derrick Gunn. Hey, thanks for hanging out with us. We'll see you next time.